gospel I have nothing to boast of, for I'm under compulsion. For woe is me if I do not preach the gospel. But he has a stewardship, verse 17. And that is that God gave him this compulsion, this stewardship that he needs to preach. And so, yes, and he's doing that. And he said, if I didn't do it, it'd be very difficult. And I'd say, I understand that, because when God calls you into full-time ministry, Christian ministry, if you don't, it's very difficult. And I've known some people that God called to the pastorate and they said no, and they look back near the end of their lives, and they look back at their life and just said it was a waste because they didn't do what God said. I mean, I had a deacon in my church. He never got involved. He fell asleep in half my sermons, which I know they weren't that great, but he fell asleep all the time. And I just was wondering, why is he like that? And then he told me right near the end of his life that God had called him to be a pastor, and he said no, and he regretted that, and go, okay, that explains it. Another guy, not only did he stop going to church, again, a deacon, his family didn't come to church. He even kept them from coming to church. Found out later, I mean, he told me that God called him to be a pastor, and he said no. And it's not just for pastors, but if God calls you into full-time Christian vocational ministry and you don't do it, then you're just miserable the rest of your life. And you miss what God has you to do. So my point is, you're here, right? So do it. You'd probably be shocked how many graduates of Southwestern there are in the Metroplex that are not in ministry. So do that ministry to which God has called you. In other words, full-time, a pastor, missionary, youth minister, children's minister, women's minister, whatever. But do it.